Hello and welcome back to the FPL Tom YouTube channel. Of course, it is the night before double game week 25. That sounds like the start of a really shit kids book, by the way. The night before game week 25. Everybody was at rest, but there was one wolf lurking, and his name was Jake. How are you
Yeah,
doing, mate? You doing good?
yeah, not too bad, thank you. It's nice having football galore non-stop. Got to make the most of it because that international period is very much coming lurking around the corner. How about
Yeah,
yourself?
I'm good. I'm good, mate. Like you said, it's good to be back with FPL. Obviously we had the FA Cup at the weekend, game week 24. It did feel kind of dragged out a little bit, didn't it? To be honest, like it was just like, oh please, just get on with the game. To be honest, just get back to FPL, get back to regular Premier League games, and that's what we've got. To be honest, so
Yeah, okay. Well, it concluded with a bang, didn't it, last
it
night?
really did. It really did. How are you feeling after that game? Obviously, a big red, as you can see from some of the shirts on the back. But how are you feeling after that 98th minute equaliser?
You know what? I actually, when you really look at the game as a whole, I think Everton would have been extremely unfortunate to come away with nothing.
Yeah,
I think that equaliser was thoroughly deserved. We hit them with the sucker punch. If we'd won that game, it would have been a proper classic line of the title winning kind of win.
yeah.
But that wasn't to be. And you know what? I think it was quite a nice send off for the Goodison era of derbies. Quite a nice moment for them. I don't actually begrudge them for the way they celebrated. If they'd celebrated a nil-nil, it would have been a different story. But when you've scored in such dramatic circumstances, I think I would have celebrated had that been Canate at the back post in the 98th minute getting us an equaliser. So yeah, I think it was a very special game, a proper classic, and some great fiery antics afterwards.
Yeah, I think it was a nice poetic send off for Goodison, wasn't it? Perfectly encapsulate everything that the Merseyside derby's been about for years. So I think it was a good send off. In today's stream, I'll get us back on track. In today's stream, we of course will be going through mine and Jake's teams, our plans ahead of double game week 25. Of course, we're going to be answering your guys' questions. I can already see we've got some absolute legends in the chat. Jessica, one of our channel members, Jamie, who's had a cracking week, 150 points for him, absolute juicer. So fair play to you, mate. And we're going to be talking about chip strategy, blank and double game weeks coming up for the rest of the season, assistant manager chips, and finally, what else are we going to talk about? I can't remember what the other bit was. There was something else as well I included in there. It was betting data.
Few blanks, few double game weeks. Was that what it was?
Oh, I already included that bit. Don't worry about that. That's already in there.
Shows how much I'm focused on this meeting of
Hey,
ours.
hey, lad, you got lost in my eyes. That's all it was.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And of course, there'll be random anecdotes like last week, where we spoke about the Sydney Sweeney effect. I'm sure that will probably be back at some point.
Sounds good.
Cool. Let's dive into it then. Let's start off first with your team, Jake. Obviously, I don't want to spend too long on double game week 24, but talk us through what went well. And to be honest, not a lot didn't really go well to you. 133 points. I think it was around about a 600k rank increase. Ion as well. Little cheeky goal for him. Yeah, give us a quick roundup. What went well?
David Moyes was the main one. I think that was the biggest gamble I made.
Yeah.
I think it was a big gamble, but it was a 50-50 in decisions. There was only Slot or Moyes to pick from. Um, and I think I just kind of cut my losses a little bit and accepted a win-win scenario. As much as I would have loved to have seen us come out with all 3 points yesterday, it kind of worked out in my favour. Said like a true Liverpool fan, I know, but I did have a feeling about the final derby. Of course, a 98th minute winner is a little bit of a fluke, but that being said, I did fancy Everton to get something from the game. So yeah, I think that paid off quite nicely. Of course, it does lead into my next game week where I will have to seriously consider taking a hit this week if I'm going to touch my team because I can't see myself keeping David Moyes with another double coming up this weekend. I've got to utilise this assistant manager chip thoroughly. Um, Captaining Salah was a no-brainer. I think if anyone didn't captain Salah, they will be quaking in their boots and will be extremely rueful over that lack of opportunity that they've missed. Um, And yeah, I think just a few nice, small 5 points and above from the likes of, like you say, Onuchu, Jacob Murphy, and then a couple of clean sheets. I feel like it's on the whole being a fairly Merseyside derby based kind of game week for the majority of people. I think that's where people will have gained their points. I mean, if anyone had Tarkowski in their team with a 4-0 win in the first game and then a last minute equaliser,
Hmm.
they will be laughing. I could imagine Jamie has got Tarkowski now that I think about that out loud. Um, but yeah, I think on the whole, if you didn't have Liverpool and Everton assets, then it would have been quite a stinker. But the double really paid off, and the assistant manager paid off as it should. I think even if you had Slot as you did, it wasn't even a bad showing. And I mean, like me, yourself, and our flatmate, albeit a couple of minuses in and around the place, all happen to get 133 together. And what are the chances of that?
Coincidence, eh? It's almost like, you listen to me for a little bit and you all start doing particularly well at the game. I don't know how that
Yeah, it
happens.
is. It is crazy. Although to be fair, considering I had Moyes, you had Slot, and the other squid had triple captain Salah. It is interesting. Just
Yeah, all went
funny
different
how it
routes.
works out.
Yeah, all went different routes, but all came back to the same conclusion of 133 points. Very nice score, mate. Hopefully, it can continue over the next few weeks. Let's take a look at how your team is lining up for double game week 25. And as you can see, bit of a mess. You alluded to a potential minus there. Talk me through the transfer plans right now.
Yeah, so I mean, I think the big elephant in the room is David Moyes. As much as he might bounce on from a really strong start to the season, well, to his tenure back at Everton, I don't think I can keep him. I think it makes a lot of sense with the amount of points that managers can gain from just playing a single game. It makes sense to to swap him out for the likes of, well, for either Slot or Amory. Um, I don't know if I want to if I want to just accept it, and whilst I'm winning, I might have got an extra few points with Moyes. I don't know if I'm going to take that gamble again with Amory, because both sides, Liverpool and Villa, they've got Ipswich, and Liverpool have got Wolves, both decent home games for them. So there's not too much to distinguish between the two games there. I feel like Liverpool should be beating Villa because the emotion of the game that was seen last night won't be in it as quite so much on Tuesday next week. So I would like to think that Liverpool will get the job done there. So I think I might have to be a sensible boy and bring in Slot. And then, yeah, of course, I've got to consider maybe taking a minus. If I am going to take a minus, though, I do think that would then potentially lead to me bringing in an Aston Villa player. The only issue I've got is if I were to bring in Slot, I would then have to sacrifice Bosley.
Yeah.
So it's one of those really. I either go for Amory and bring in someone like a Luca Digne, or I bring in Slot and bring in, I don't know, not really thought about what would be the best asset to have. Maybe I need to look more long term for a midfielder, but then again, we're not we're teetering along the lines of a wild card in the next few weeks, so I don't know how far ahead in the future I really need to plan.
Yeah, obviously we'll come on to that when we talk about the doubles and the blanks, because I think it will give you a really clear picture of probably when to wildcard and what teams and kind of players you need to be targeting. But I think if you were to go for Slot, somebody maybe like a Clivert could be a decent shout, or
Mm.
an Otaro as well. Or obviously you got Semenyo. You've got all three to really pick from with the Bournemouth midfield. Decent fixture this week against Southampton. I know it's not a double, but it's still a pretty decent fixture on its own.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. Am I shooting myself in the foot by taking a player out that's got a double though? Would you say?
I don't. I guess it's one of those where you could just make that switch to Emery, and I
Mm.
think I probably still would out of all the managers. You are still getting a chance at two games. I think they'll
Mhm.
win the Ipswich game comfortably, so you'll probably put up maybe like a 10 to potentially 12 pointer there. Then you factor in if they get anything out of that Liverpool game,
Still
your
plenty
table
again.
bonus as well. I think it is just worth going for him. He's got the two games. It for me seems like the right decision to go for Emery. Leaves a bit lie in. I think with the doubles, I don't really see, unless Cliver or one of the other Bournemouth players goes absolutely mental. It's a tough one. It is a tough one.
Would you be against Luca Digne for Matty Cash as well?
Yeah, obviously you need to look at that Villa spot because obviously Cash is out injured. It's one of those where I think when I show you the potential blanks and the potential holes in your team, maybe bringing in another Villa player might not be the way to go with that back line.
Yeah, fair enough.
But we'll take a look at it. We'll take a look at it. Like, there's obviously a bit of room to do. I think a -4 probably is on the cards. I can't lie. But
It's
with
one
it,
of those really when you've got players that you're bringing in, especially if I'm bringing in Amory, who's got that second game. It's kind of one of those where it might just even itself out. I know like people might have gone for Slot because there was the potential of a double game week again, and so they wouldn't have to worry about taking a minus. Whereas here I've gone for Moyes and he's got 7 more points than Slot, so I've almost allowed myself to take the minus.
yeah. I definitely think in double game weeks as well, it does offer the opportunity to take some minuses. That's why I
Yeah.
took one this week. I knew that the double game weeks probably would cover off that minus, and it did. So, especially if you're bringing in a player that you think can deliver across that double game week as well. Yeah, I do think that definitely the opportunity is open when double game weeks present themselves for that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what these next few weeks hold when you announce
Oh,
the two.
don't worry, mate. It's going to be like opening Pandora's box. Right, before we move on to my team, let's have a look in the comments, see what's cracking off. We've got lots of channel members and moderators in here tonight. Jamie has said, do not touch Digne. FFS. So yeah, he's not happy about that one. Off course in the chat, he says, hi all, been a while. Like, reminder to like. Yeah, reminder to like. Um, Random Vids has said, can you rank Rashford, Asensio and Marlon as Villa picks?
I think I'd go Marlon, Rashford, Asensio.
I think they're all minutes risks, to be honest, you know.
I think Marlon's most likely to have most minutes over the next, like, say, 5 game weeks, as long as he stays fit, because he's been there longer and he's had quite a bright start. But with the attacking prowess they've got now, it does take the stress out of how important the likes of Watkins is.
I personally think I won't go near any of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think with, Champions League following on in a few weeks, I think there's just going to be so much rotation heading into that Ipswich game.
Yeah, fair enough.
Which goalkeeper to buy at this stage? Verbergen has been absolutely disappointing. Is Kepa nailed? Yes, they got rid of Travers, sent him out loan to Middlesbrough. So you could go for Kepa, but again, it depends when you wildcarding. You could maybe take a punt on Martinez. A double game week this week, but of course a blank potentially in 29. So maybe not the way to go with that one. FPL Shane's in the chat. He says, morning Tram. I have changed my name officially to Tram now. So thank you for that one, mate. Someone said bench one, Visser, Isak and Wood. Would appreciate logic too. Well, we can't do the logic bit, I'm afraid. We're two simpletons just chatting FPL. Oh, I think out of all of them, your bench Wood. It's so difficult to say after a hat trick, but I think City are going to be absolutely heartbroken that they lost that game right at the end. They look woeful at the back as well. Real Madrid could have put at least 5 past them. I think Isak will definitely get something. Visser is currently sat second for expected goal involvements and hasn't delivered, so I think it's just a matter of time before he explodes. Chris Wood has been overperforming on his underlying data. Just got a hat trick. Is he going to follow that up? I don't know. Which way do you lean on that one, lad?
I think I'm in agreement. Fulham are one of the few sides that managed to go and put together quite an astute performance at the City ground and won quite, not comfortably, but the result was quite respectful to them. So I do think Fulham's one of those, really. I said it off air to you that even though there is the likes of Amory and Slot, Silva is not a bad shout for banking on, because if Fulham get a win against Forest, they've got the table bonus, and that's quite an astounding result just for 1 game week. And I mean, I did in my football predictions that we do off air. I went for a Fulham win. I don't know about yourself.
Can't remember what I put. I think I
What
maybe
would you
went.
say off the top of your head?
I'd probably go a draw.
Fair enough. But yeah, no, I think West Ham aren't the finished article. Of course, they're not going to be. They look a little bit better, but um, Brentford are a very good attacking side. Even though they may not win the game, you'd imagine they'd score. And yeah, I don't think in your right mind you can bench Isak against anyone if you've got him in your team, especially when City are so glaringly open when it
Hmm.
comes to defending.
Yeah, yeah. Agreed. Agreed. What other questions have we got? Semeno or Otara? Who would you go for out of those two?
Oh, that's a good question, that. Well, Ouattara seems to be having a proper purple patch of late.
Hmm.
He looks like he's playing up front.
He is.
Um, so that's not a bad shout. Semenyo is what makes them click. I know Clivert's been brilliant this season, especially over the last few months, but Semenyo is their best player, I would argue. Um, so yeah, I think I will go for Semenyo for longevity. We've got to wait and see, but we don't have the proof that Ouattara can keep it up. Whereas Semenyo may go quiet now and again, but he has always got that flash of brilliance in him.
Yeah, I think the only benefit of going for Otara is the fact that he is the cheapest out of the lot and is just playing up front, and there's
Mhm.
no kind of immediate return of Evan Nielsen or Unal, who've both suffered long-term injuries. So I think I probably maybe would just take that gamble on Otara. I would actually probably put Semeno bottom of my list out of all three. I think Clivert goes number one because of penalties. You know I absolutely love and adore a penalty taker. That's just a cheat code to this game. Then I probably would go Otara because he's out of position. Semeno gets a lot of shots off. His data's all right, but I don't know if he's got that mega score in him, if you know what I mean.
Mm, fair enough.
But each their own. Each their own. Right, we'll answer some more questions in a little while. But now we're going to head on into my team. So let me just switch screens. There we go. We won't spend too long, obviously, talking about double game week 24, but it was a pretty good week. 3k rank rise all the way up until 30k. We did go for the assistant manager chip on slot. However, of course, TC has won and Moyes owners won because they got more points this week. But I do feel the longevity of this move is probably going to bear more fruits. It means then this week I don't realistically have to make a transfer on that assistant manager, whereas obviously people that went for Moyes probably are looking at an Emery or of course are looking at a slot. We have that privilege of just keeping him all day long.
That's flawed because even if I
Hey,
take -4, Tom,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
still gaining 3 points
Hey,
on you.
hey, hey, hey. All I'm saying is it's just the way it goes. It's just the way it goes. All right.
Triple captain, I agree. I
Yeah, yeah.
completely.
The triple captain has definitely won. So fair play for the people that went for that. It kind of wasn't the narrative. More people were looking at the assistant managership. If you took the gamble on the triple captain, fair play. Well done. Great, great work. In terms of other players, obviously Chris Wood, hat trick, great, love that. Munoz as well, randomly just appeared up front and just put the ball across for Mateta. Great, clean sheet at Old Trafford. Great. United are terrible. I've said this all season. Make sure to target them every single week, and you're going to get yourself points. Easy as pie, isn't it, really? Heading into game week 25 then, let's take a look at how my team is looking ahead of this one. As you can see, we do have one flagged player, and it is Ezri Konza. Now, we are waiting for further updates regarding his fitness status from Unai Emery, and hopefully he is fit and available. And if that is the case, I am just going to roll. I think the team's in a really, really good position. There's nobody that I'm desperate to get out of the team. Obviously, we're going to captain Salah. I think that's the easy move. If we were to bring in a defender this week, we would go for Dean Huyson and we would bring him in for Konza because he plays in blank game week 29, and my current strategy is to not free hit in 29. So it gives me a playing defender. Yes, he doesn't have the double this week, but he has a fixture in 29, so I'm still gaining that extra fixture, or at least keeping another fixture in line. What do you think about those plans then, lad?
Yeah, no, I understand that completely. I mean, the only thing I'm a bit I'm in the dark over is just how many teams are likely to miss out from this. whether it's something that you think is crucial for me to even look forward to, considering like, is it gonna is it gonna shred my team apart like right through the middle when
Yeah,
in this blank game week?
yeah.
How many matches do you think will go ahead?
Uh, 8 will go ahead, but the teams that will blank, we'll look at it in a second, but the teams that will blank will be obviously Liverpool, Aston Villa. So you've currently got triple Liverpool, double Villa.
Yeah.
Then it will be Newcastle and Palace will be the other blank. You've got
Right. Okay.
Isak. Have you got Isak?
Yeah.
Isak, Murphy. Have you got any Palace players, or am I making that up in my head?
No, I've got triple Liverpool, haven't I?
Yeah, so he's still in a position where, yeah, maybe a free hit in 29 might be the option. But
But
then
if you want to avoid that,
yeah,
if you're going to look to the future, you really like. I mean, I imagine if you're going to try and get a team of 11 players, you're going to have Salah, Isak on the bench, and one.
I might be selling Isak.
Fair enough.
It might be time for the return of Erling Haaland.
Fair dues.
Yeah, you know what? Let's just sod it. Let's dive into it because we can come back to my team in a second when you've got all the info. Obviously, if people aren't aware, make sure you are dropping Ben Krellin a follow on Twitter. If you want to go and check this out for yourself, there is a link in the description to Fantasy Football Hub. It will take you over to their website, and this is all free and available for you guys to use. You don't have to pay for any of their subscriptions. However, if you do want to pay and use that little link, I get a little referral fee, so that's very, very nice. Right, let's map out then the blanks and potential doubles coming up for the rest of the season. So obviously we know about game week 25 being a double. Great. Blank game week 29, there is already one fixture that has been confirmed. It is Liverpool Aston Villa that is blanking. There is a 98% chance of Newcastle Crystal Palace blanking. The only reason they wouldn't blank is if both went out in the next round of the FA Cup. That would offer the potential opportunity for them to play in that game week. And that would be a really good situation for me and my team because I'm double Newcastle and of course I have Munoz as well. So that could be a situation that obviously arises over the next few weeks. So for your team, Jake, it would mean cash, or if you brought in Digne, you had Rodgers as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Triple Liverpool, and obviously you had Jacob Murphy and Isak as well. So they'd all be blanking. So how many would that leave you with for that week?
8 players, I think.
8 players, okay. So,
7 players because you'd have a keeper, which isn't going to play because we've got both Everton.
yeah. Okay.
Which gives me time, like you say,
Yeah.
if I rethink what my -4 transfer is now.
Exactly. And I think a lot of people are probably heading into blank game week 29 with no real plan in place. Now, some people might get to that week and think, fair enough, I'm just going to free hit. And why not? You know, it is a blank game week. It's not a bad blank game week to do it. There's definitely some interesting fixtures where there's huge upside. Obviously, City have got Brighton. That's a pretty decent fixture. Forest have got Ipswich. Wolves have got Southampton. There's some good fixtures in there. But if we look to game week 34, which is going to be the bigger blank game week, dependent on FA Cup results, I think that's probably going to be the better week to use the free hit. Now, I purely say that.
It's really unlikely to.
Yeah. So the reason I say that is because my plan, and a lot of people's plan, will be to dead end the team into 29, so get the best team possible for 29, then wildcard in 30 or 31, use the bench boost in 33, free hit in 34, and then if there is a double game week in 36, then use your remaining transfers on it. But that is obviously why I want to save the free hit, because I don't really want to build a team for double game week 33 and then be left in a position where I don't have any players left for 34. So that's why I'm trying now to get as many players that play in 29 just so I can use this strategy.
We've got three game weeks to prepare as well, which is good.
Exactly, and that's the beauty thing of not having to transfer out slot as well.
No comment.
Yeah.
I've defended myself way too many times now.
Just saying.
Mate, whatever.
Just saying. That's what we're doing. But yeah, that's the plan for me. Is I'm pretty much gonna go into 29, try and build up my transfers. That's why I will be going for Hoyson instead of Konza if there is an injury, Bournemouth play that week. It's Brentford, but they've got a decent fixture run going into that. The rest of the remaining weeks, we're going to build as many transfers as we possibly can. If it's with Konza, we have 4 going into that week and we can put out a full 11. If it's 3, we can still put out a full 11 if I brought in Hoyson this week. So yeah, that's my idea for this week.
Nice. I'm intrigued to know. It'd be interesting to see who I'll actually play, or who's a worthy signing to bring in. Because I think, I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether it is worth just going Slot and taking Sobbo out, or if it is worth just going Amory, because of course the assistant manager chip will be well and truly gone by then. Yeah, if I go for Amory, it means that I've got a bit of Villa back in with Rodgers as well.
Yeah.
And then I could always take Matty Cash out for someone that will 100% play in 29.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that Hoyson. What do you reckon?
Yeah, he sounds all right. He sounds pretty decent.
Might ask him out on Valentine's. Anyway.
Has that opened your eyes? Was it a Pandora's box?
It was, yeah. I think you've fully got it set up in your head, don't you, as to when you're using your chips. I've kind of just looked and gone, bloody hell, it's game week 25 and I've used 2 chips, got 3 left over. I might as well use them in the next few weeks, but no, that's actually put my mind at ease a little bit to take my time and plan for 29 with the three transfers for free that I may have.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, even if I do make a transfer this week, then great. But at the end of the day, if I'm not going to make a transfer that's going to benefit my team or maybe utilising the double, I may just hold on my transfer being the only my manager being the only transfer this week.
Yeah. The only thing I would say maybe on this as well is there might not actually be a double in 33. It could go into 36, everything.
Wow.
So we're not going to find that out though until game week 31, 30-ish. So yeah, it's still all TBC. A lot of it's based on FA Cup results and stuff like that. But yeah, there's some tasty game weeks coming up. There's still definitely some TC potential, bench boost potential, all that good stuff. But I think, like I said, the best week to probably play that free hit is going to be in 34. Looking at some of the teams that are left there, kind of just left over, to be honest, and just hoping for something.
Tough games as well. Everton. From what that looks like, it's just going to be Everton, Chelsea, and Liverpool, Spurs.
Yeah, they're the only confirmed ones at the moment because you're obviously all out, aren't you?
Yeah. That being said, there are other teams that will be out by then. So
yeah, I can't remember the FA Cup fixtures for the next round. We might get some more drop out. Hang on, let me have a look.
Well, you've got Brighton, Newcastle, so that could be. Well, there's one team. So are Ipswich already out?
Let me get the fixtures up. Give me a second. We really pay attention to the FA Cup. What a cup competition, eh? Right, we've got Bournemouth, Wolves. So Bournemouth play United in that round, and United have Fulham.
United should go through there.
They should, but you never know with United.
They're strange. They're another one of those teams that seem to pull it out in the cup.
Right, Villa have got Cardiff, and City have got Plymouth. So I'd probably say Villa and City, they're not going to be featuring that week. That's a safe assumption. Newcastle play Brighton in the FA Cup,
which means whoever loses will play.
Yeah. So
because
West Ham,
both of their fixtures are already out.
Yeah, West Ham, or for Newcastle, it could be Ipswich.
Yeah, so
that could be a tasty. That could be a tasty little number on a free hit. Forest have got Ipswich, so obviously we still need Ipswich to lose that week. So Forest, that's.
But if Forest lose, Brentford lost to Plymouth, didn't they? So Forest would be playing Brentford in that week. So you'd either have oh my god, it's like a domino effect, isn't it? You'd either have, if Forest lose, you'd have them playing Brentford. But if Forest win, Ipswich would be playing Newcastle if Brighton win.
Yeah. So I think the ideal result for FPL would be Ipswich and Brighton win.
No, Forest and Brighton, I'd say. because then you get Ipswich, Newcastle, don't you?
Oh yeah, sorry, Forest and Brighton. Yeah,
Yeah, because then you get the Ipswich Newcastle game. Yeah, that would be good. And then you get what Brighton West Ham. Not a bad game that. Maybe a
no.
little chuck on. I don't know. Routers looking quite decent of late.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like I think a lot of us will wildcard heading to 33 with a double, probably bench boost or triple captain, or some people might even have their assistant manager chip to play if they wildcarded in 30, went 31 to 33 with the assistant manager chip with that double in mind. There's a lot of ways you can obviously attack it, but I just
Wolves
think,
Leicester as well on the sly, mate. That's not
hey, you
game.
know what I mean? It's possible. It's
Yeah,
possible.
no, it could be a nice little wild card. I do completely agree though. 34 looks so much more enticing for a a free hit. I think 29 looks great for a free hit because there are so many options.
Hmm.
But if you do that, 34 you could be caught a little bit short.
Yeah, you could really be mudded. But it's one of those. It's one of those. I guess we'll just have to see how it pans out over the next few weeks with the FA Cup fixtures.
Yeah.
But yeah, right. I've seen the chat has been absolutely popping off. I saw somebody got kicked out of the chat because they were confirming that I basically had just watched someone else's video and was just regurgitating whatever they'd said in that video for that section there.
Thank you. Well, whoever said that, I'm glad that they've been watching my videos.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest though, the thing is, everyone's kind of in the community is probably going to have a similar kind of, I'd say, opinion on it because
Well, we're all talking about the same league, aren't
we're
we?
all talking about the same league. We're all talking about the same players. Most of us are probably going to come to the same conclusion, unfortunately, because we see that as the best way to attack these doubles and blanks. It's just what
If
this game is.
anyone was unique and giving different opinions, then they probably won't be doing quite so well in the league.
No, yeah. If I was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely playing a free it in 29. I'm gonna just balls it in 34. Like you'd be like, okay, but you're leaving yourself in a sticky position. It's not like out the realms of possibility.
Yeah, and
But
then you'd only go and get people coming into the chat saying, "This guy knows jack shit. Listen to all the other guys."
yeah. But it is what it is. Unfortunately, that's the way it goes. Random vids as well. We already answered your question about Rashford, Asensio, and Marlon. Jake said he preferred Marlon. I said personally I wouldn't touch any of them. But there you go.
Which wasn't technically an answer, mate. So I'm sorry on Tom's behalf that
No,
he couldn't
yeah.
answer your question.
I'm just slacking, really, aren't I? I'm just slacking. Mohammed's in the chat as well, another one of our channel members. Hope you're doing decent, man. Off course says, how dare you watch other people's videos? I know, mate. Scandalous. Scandalous that I've watched other content creators' videos. Oh, just so naughty of me. Someone said, bench Visser, Cliver, Wood, or Isak. Oh, that's a toughie.
I still think I'm agreeing with your original argument because you just added Clivert in there, and I think Clivert's got a better fixture
Yeah.
than Wood.
Yeah, I think it genuinely is a toss-up between Wood and Visser.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
was having a look. Wood's got 1 goal in 5 games against Fulham, whereas Visser's got 2 in 5 against West Ham.
it's marginal then, is what it is. It's
Mhm.
marginal. But hey-ho. Right, let's keep this show ticking on. Obviously, if you want to go and, like I said, check this out for yourself, head over to Ben Krellin's Twitter, drop him a follow, head over to Fantasy Football Hub as well. This is all available for you guys to take a look at as well. If you want to take a screenshot as well with mine and Jake's lovely faces in it, go for it as well. Right, let's move on then. Let's take a look at the betting data ahead of this game week. Of course, make sure you're following Rob T FPL, an absolute legend as always. Of course, it does have the double game week fixture in there, but Liverpool across the board looking pretty decent in the projections, aren't they, Jake?
They are indeed, yeah. On paper, they are 2 reasonable fixtures. That being said, Aston Villa is going to be a tricky game, but like I say, the way Liverpool have been playing this season in the league, they really shouldn't have any problems in either game. Villa should be a trickier game,
Mm.
but you can't write off Wolves giving it a go. They just don't seem to have, pardon me, too much of a good record at Anfield, and that's not necessarily been in seasons where Liverpool have been as dominant as they seem to have been this season. And yeah, Villa, bit of a tricky one, but I feel like I say, the emotion was there yesterday, which may have been why the game was a lot more feisty.
Mm.
I think Villa play a lot more. Um, well, they play a lot nicer on the eye than Everton, and that's no disrespect to Everton. Everton have the game plan and it's working for them. But I think Villa may play into Liverpool's advantage a little bit more than Everton did.
Yeah, yeah, agreed. I think, obviously, like you said, that raw emotion of the last derby, you could see everybody was up for that one. I do think that obviously had an impact on the result. Looking at some other fixtures across the board, don't look like there's going to be probably many clean sheets this week, to be honest. Obviously, Palace's are looking pretty decent. Bournemouth's, Villa's, Arsenal's. But then once we get past those, it's just like, could be goal fests, really.
Yeah, you'd fancy Spurs United to have a couple of goals. You'd say over 2.5 goals might be a decent bet there.
Agreed.
Um, Brighton Chelsea could go either way. I feel like the cup game was a nice taster for what this could be like because Brighton did play really well and Chelsea's team was not weak. Um, yeah, Villa, be very surprised if that's goalless. I think that was that. I think Villa won that in the reverse, but I think it was quite a close game. I think Ipswich gave them a good game.
Hmm.
City, I'd be gobsmacked if that was 0-0. Yeah, I have actually put 0-0 in the football
Oh,
bets that
lad.
I've done. um, and then yeah, like you say, I don't need to go through all of them. I think that if you had to pick a couple of teams that maybe you'd be confident of a clean sheet, I think you would say Arsenal and potentially Palace, which is that Sydney Sweeney's team now?
Hey, it is Sydney Sweeney's team. I'll talk about a bit of Sydney Sweeney. As you can see, the betting data not really fancying them too much, but again, I do think it will be the Sydney Sweeney effect. They've obviously, equalised at Liverpool. Everybody would have been buzzing after that one, leveling the game. Great send off for Goodison. Now you've got to go to Palace away. Oof. Oof, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you've got to be hyped up to go to Palace to win that game because
Exactly.
they're a tough game to go to. The Palace fans are always up for it, arguably the best in the league sometimes.
Mm.
So yeah, I think after that they may have the little hangover of limp dick Palace away.
Exactly. It's the Sydney Sweeney effect. It's going to fully happen again. It's just the way it's going to go. We're going to sit here all this time, and that is just it. That's how it works. So yeah.
Sitting here with Pickford in our teams.
Well, it's one of those, isn't it? I've got Munoz as well, so I'm playing both sides of the coin. A, f-
A lovely 0-0 would be
a
great there,
fat,
wouldn't it?
juicy 0-0 would be stupendous. But yeah, I think that's all decent across the board. Any final thoughts before we move on to the assistant manager chip, or you all good?
No, all good. All good. Looks like it'll be quite an entertaining week of football.
It
What?
should. It should, mate. It should be a very entertaining week. Right, let's head on then to the final section before we answer some of your guys' questions. Looking at the predicted points tool from Fantasy Football Hub, looking at the assistant manager points over the next 3 game weeks. So, of course, if you were to activate it this week, which I know some people potentially are from looking in the chat and on the poll, Arnie Slot, obviously with the double this week, he looks a pretty good bet for those that are, of course, looking to obviously trade away from Moyes as well if you've got that Liverpool spot open or potentially could get it. Emery in second with 25 points, those that are feeling a bit more risk adverse and fancy obviously trying to chase that table bonus again could be a decent option. Arsenal have got some pretty decent fixtures over the next 3, and I think Arteta might be my move away from Slot in the following week as well. Hertzler, Silva and Postecoglou follow it up, all with potential table bonuses over the next few weeks. What do you make of that list then, Jake?
Yeah, I mean, there's no surprise why the top two are there
Mm-hmm.
with the extra game. I don't know Arsenal's fixtures, but with them playing Leicester, that should be a resounding win, really. So that should help him get maximum point, well, 10 points at least.
Yeah.
And like I say, once again, Marco Silva is that dark horse, I think, this game week. There's all the chance in the world that Silva could get more points than one of Amory or Slot.
Mm-hmm. Arsenal's next 3 fixtures are Leicester, West Ham and Forest.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I don't think the Forest one's going to be easy, but you probably imagine they should win Leicester and Arsenal quite comfortably.
Yeah, agreed.
Someone's just said, risk adverse means you don't want to take risks. Whoops. Sorry. I've been getting absolutely slammed, by the way, for my use of English in recent videos. I mean, it's no surprise, is it? I just can't speak the language.
That's why you need to go away more.
Yeah,
You need
yeah.
to go abroad more because then no one actually clocks it because your English is the best in the country.
Exactly. They'll be like, oh, wow, he's got really good England. Anybody you think that potentially is missing on this list who you'd potentially take a look at? Obviously, you've spoke about Marco Silva, but anyone else that you may be feeling tempting you?
I don't know the fixtures well enough, but I mean, you can't deny that the likes of Eddie Howe at Newcastle's been doing well, and it's a shame really that City aren't more points ahead because if there are 5 places between them, then you'd really back Newcastle to get a good result and Eddie Howe to be a great shout.
Yeah.
And then I guess you can't really argue with Nuno's performance, but unfortunately, where they sit in the table, it's not a risk that's worth taking when they're going away to a side that beat them at home already this season.
Here's one for you. Obviously, after next week, no double for Slot. Do I maybe take a gamble on Pep beating Slot for the table bonus?
I don't think that's a bad idea at all. It's at City as well, isn't it?
Yeah, just one to think about.
Yeah. No, I don't think that's a bad idea at all.
Apparently, I'm just getting absolutely slammed for my English again in the chat. So, yeah, I'm not going to speak English anymore. I'm just going to switch to French. Bonjour, je déteste Arne Slot. Je adore le Emery.
Frank Ribery.
What was that?
That was I don't actually know what that means, and
You can say the names, can't you? You can say normal people's names. Like you can just go Frank Ribery. That's fine. But it's the other bits around it. So you'd be like, comment vas-tu, garçon?
Comment vas-tu, garçon?
Yeah. Are you not responding to me? No, we both just asked each other how are you in French.
Well, that's like me going, "You're right," and then you going, "You're right."
Yeah, comment vas-tu, garçon? It's a lot more.
Oh, comment vas-tu, garçon?
It's a lot
You
bigger.
don't actually have to say. Oh.
I'm heading to Belgium next weekend. Is there any French I should be picking up on?
I don't know. I know it Calvin. I'll just say that to everyone because, of course, Belgium is a mix between French and Dutch, and with my ancestorial heritage going back to Holland, that's the only thing I know what to say. A Calvin.
Does that mean something good? Does that mean
I'm not going to tell you. I'm just going to let you. I reckon say it to. I don't know. Say it to whoever you like and see what they say.
It's definitely going to mean like milk a cow or something, isn't it?
No, they won't slap you. If anything, they'll just be a bit like, "Oh, all right."
It definitely means like drain my sack or something.
Well, my mum used to say it to me before I went to bed, so I'd hope not.
Good night, son. Drain me sack.
Drain me sack. That means I love you.
Right. Okay, that's good then. At least I can use that one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna Google afterwards as well what drain my sack is in French. Just actually, you know what? Sod it. We got time. We got time. People.
You having a look now?
Yeah.
In
Translate.
French or Dutch?
French. Drain my sack into French, please. This is what you don't get on the other ones. Yeah, we might give you the same old advice as everybody else with the chip strategies, but they're not teaching you how to say drain my sack in French, are they? Are you ready?
Yeah, go on.
We'll play it for you as well. Oh. Hang on.
Vider mon sac.
Vide mon sac.
Vide mon sac.
Vide mon sac.
Oh, vide mon sac. Comment vas-tu, garçon? Vide mon sac.
Yeah. How are you today? Drain my sack. That's all you need. That's all you need. Oh, Jesus. What has this stream turned into again? Absolutely.
It's become a Duolingo course.
It really has. It really has. So yeah, there you go.
Funny because this video is sponsored.
Yeah, it's sponsored by Duolingo. If you want to say to a Belgian lady, "Drain my sack,"
Vide mon sac.
"Vide mon sac," don't worry, we've got you covered. Right, let's see what questions are kicking around in terms of FPL. We'll try and get it back on track before we finish up today. I'm not playing the free hit in 24. Who should I have for Hall? I have Kirkes, Gabriel, Robinson, Aina, by the way. Ooh. I mean, you could probably just stick with that, to be honest. You've got 4 playing defenders already in there. I reckon there's probably other areas you might want to be looking at.
Or hold.
Yeah, I think you could just hold Hall on the bench for me, really. You don't really want to be playing a 5 back in 29, do you?
Thing is, with all like, you don't know how that goes.
No, yeah. I know the fixtures are pretty poor.
City will score.
Yeah.
But of course, he came away from Old Trafford with an assist and a clean sheet.
He did. Any temptation to go for Nawari, 4.5 million for Arsenal? Obviously, Havertz out for the end of the season as well.
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting to see how they do because you'd imagine they're going to be able to still get the results they need to continue to fight for this title. But it'll be interesting to see what the forward line's going to be. Will it be? Do you reckon that means Trossard goes up top?
Potentially.
So he might be someone to keep an eye on because he reminds me a little bit of Jota. Like they both seem like that type of player that just somehow seem to find the back of the net. But Nwaneri, he's got that curved finish on lock, hasn't he? So it'll just be interesting to see how he does and if he can consistently get some minutes under his belt.
Oh my God!
What have you been translating?
This. Someone told me to have a look at Mac and Piss.
Mac and piss, like mac and cheese.
It's a fountain.
In Belgium?
Yeah, and it's a little lad having a whittle.
Oh, the fountain is a statue of a boy having a wee.
Yeah, little kid having a whittle. Right.
Wow, and then you can say vide mon sac.
Yeah,
and it'll make perfect sense because that's exactly what he's doing.
Exactly, he is emptying his sack. A few have been asking Ahmed or Visser this week. Oh, I think I go Visser. It's tough though.
Who have United got?
Tottenham, but I think the recent underlying data has been poo. They've not really been creating too many chances, so I think I'd go Visser. Cliver or Dango to buy for this week only. We'll buy the other one next week.
Cliver.
Yeah, I think I'd go Cliver as well. Just penalties, isn't it? Just penalties.
And he's class. He's been brilliant recently. Except for his own goal, open goal. He decided to miss against Liverpool, which was quite nice of him.
Joe has said he's an icon. There's a little girl around the corner too. Oh.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Cheers, mate.
Well, I'll go and look at the children pissing in Belgium. Free transfers. First one, use Sarr to Cliver. Do a second one, Ahmed to Rogers, and roll the third. Not free hitting in 29. Ahmad to Rogers. Would you do Ahmad to Rogers this week and roll the third?
Probably, because I feel like it depends on who else you've got. If you've got no Villa assets, I don't think Rodgers is a bad shout because you're saving that third transfer. But just make sure you don't accidentally have, well, if you've got like a Villa centre-back or defender and a Villa attacker already, then you're going to be up against it when it comes to making sure that you've got 11 players to play that blank game week. So if it's just the one with Rodgers, I think he's a must-have, arguably.
Yeah. All right. Okay, I get that. Triple captain Salad this week, and then he put Salah underneath. Would you go for it?
I mean, if you haven't already, then yeah, I think he's not. It's not a bad game week. I think you have missed a better game week. I think he is probably going to have done better this game week. I don't know how things will go against Villa. He scores against anyone though, doesn't he? So it just depends on the day. He didn't necessarily play too well against Everton and yet came away with a goal and assist. So
Kind of
It
been the
doesn't take.
story of the season, hasn't it? Really, for Salah, some games.
Yeah, it doesn't take much for him to get some kind of attacking return. So yeah, he's got 2 games to get you some kind of haul. Go for it. Um, I don't know if is that most likely the last chance of a Liverpool double now? Would you say?
Yeah, I think there's a small probability, but I think that is pretty much it.
Mm,
So yeah, I think that's probably going to be it. Jack has asked bench one of Luis Diaz, Mateta, or Visser. Oof.
Visser.
Yeah, I'm probably leaning more towards Visser.
Mateta is on fire at the moment,
Yeah,
and as much as Luis Diaz is completely the opposite, he's got 2 games.
yeah, agreed. Right, Jake, I'm going to ask you our famous question before we finish up. What is going to be the highest scoring game this game week?
I am going to go for United Spurs.
Okay. I'm going to go West Ham Brentford.
Wow, I really thought you were going Everton Palace for a second,
No,
you know?
I tempted you. That is a terrible 5:30, by the way.
Yeah, and how is City Newcastle at 3 p.m.?
I have no idea.
That is the most bonkers collapse of television rights.
Yeah, it's terrible. 5:30 and it's Palace Everton.
What are you doing at 5:30 on Saturday, lad?
Probably driving home.
Fair enough.
Yeah, not watching that shower shite.
Well, get it on record, lad, and we'll watch it over again. I'll watch it whilst you're driving home, then I'll watch it all over again just
Oh
with
yeah,
you.
thank you very much. Jessica said bed shitter of the week.
Bed shitter of the week. That is an interesting one.
Mm.
Shall we have a quick look?
I think there's probably an easy option.
No.
Probably like Curtis Jones.
Nah, because I kind of rated what he did, to be honest. I think
Decore.
that's. Oh no, because I kind of also on the slide rated what he did as well. It was just shit. I was
Oh,
reacting.
Rogers stinks of a bed shitter. 1-pointer.
Mm,
That's a honk. Isak as well. 2 points in a loss to Fulham.
that was rather stinky.
That was honky. Ahmed against Palace at home. 2-pointer.
United as a whole,
Yeah.
yeah.
People that benched Chris Wood or sold Chris Wood for Gakpo. I mean, they're just bed shitters in general, aren't they?
City defense. God,
City.
no one's really stood out, really, have they? But
It's just a lot of shit, really.
mm, I think someone else we need to keep an eye on, Tom, is Cole Palmer because he's he's gone a bit stale. I think.
You say that, right? But has a fixture in 29. Okay, so that's him staying in for a bit.
Mm.
Let me read you the next few Chelsea fixtures. So they got Villa in 26. Not an easy fixture, right?
Well, that's the game where he'll do something.
Yeah. 27, Southampton at home.
Mm-hmm.
28, Leicester at home.
Oh, nice.
And then obviously 29 plays in the blank.
Fair enough. So maybe just purely because of the fixtures, he survives. But
Fixtures
yeah,
and every man in the dog owns him. Plays in the
yeah.
blank game week 29. There's no real, I think, cause to sell him.
Mm. Do more people still own Isak to Haaland or not?
Yeah, definitely.
And yet you're considering getting rid, eh?
Only to get Haaland in for 29 and 30 if I delay the wild card to 31.
Fair enough.
And then
All right,
obviously
well,
if City
good
double in
food for thought at least. How many more game weeks do we have before England?
that, quite a few, I think.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, quite a few. I think maybe 4,
Mm.
5.
Well, long may it last. And plus, like that being said, you've got City Madrid again on Wednesday, haven't you? So Newcastle really got to be licking their lips there.
Exactly. Right, I think we're going to end it there. Any final thoughts from you, mate?
No, looking forward to it. Here we go.
Here we go, eh? I will be live tomorrow.
Copyright that.
I'll be live tomorrow for the deadline at 2 o'clock. Remember, it is a Friday deadline. Chelsea Brighton is tomorrow evening. So I'll be live from 2 o'clock in the afternoon. If you want to come and get your team rated, ask me any questions, all that good stuff, I will be there. But
Wishing you a nice, happy Valentine's Day.
Oh,
eh?
yeah, and a very nice happy Valentine's for those that are spending it with a loved one. Or maybe you're just spending it with Pam. And, you're just going to...
Pam?
Yeah, Pam me your hand.
Oh, right.
You
Oh, what
know.
about well, they could be spending it with you from
Well,
2
yeah,
p.m.
they could be spending it with me from 2 p.m. I'll put my
and
like
Pam.
and Pam. Yeah, if you want to put those two together, ideal
Well, that
really.
is an evening and a
That
half.
that now is an evening. And yeah, I can put on my like like Smooth FM have like a seductive voice when they're like announcing the songs like after 9 p.m. It'll be like, and here is George Michael with Careless Whisper.
Just need some of the GTA music.
Yeah. And then just like a few candles. I might light a candle tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. How many views do you need for you to take your top off?
A lot. Thousands for me to take my top
Thousand
off.
views tomorrow on your stream, and you'll take your top off.
If we hit 1,000 views, I probably would take my top off.
All right. Well,
But
my sales role at work has suddenly changed.
yeah, get as many people to watch this stream as possible. But yeah, there we go. Right, we're going to end it there. Like I said, I'll be live tomorrow. I'll see you then. Me and Jake will be back probably this time next week as well to preview Game Week 26, which as well is a Friday deadline. So see you in a bit. Bye-bye.
Right.
Oh, wrong one. There we go.